Yo, welcome back to the Immigrant section. My guest today is a very special guest. I learned about her when I interviewed Brown. I don't know if you watched that episode with Bentley Brown. Really cool guy. He was talking about Sudanese comedian, female in the UK. And I was like, what? And I got the details right at the episode. I hit her up. Here she is. Everybody, please welcome Ola Labib. What's going on?
Hello. Can you see me now then?
Yeah, I can. I've just been trying to set it all up. I can see you. I can hear you. You're good. Welcome. But now it's switched. Okay, no, now you're good. Okay, we're good.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I've been doing a lot of these type of calls, obviously because of COVID and everything. So I'm getting used to it a little bit. But I see you have a podcast as well.
I do with my darling husband called the Kashta Lab Pod.
The cash. Sorry, say it one more time.
Kashta.
Yeah.
So his rap name was Kashta. People call him Kashta. It's a Nubian word.
Yeah. And then I looked at his account.
Oh, okay, cool. And then Lab comes from Labib.
Okay.
And Pod comes from podcast.
I'm putting
the Kashta Lab Pod.
Awesome. So you are. Before we went live, I literally meeting you for the first time. This is really cool. It's amazing how connected we all are. Like this is the first time I've podcasted anybody overseas. So welcome.
Where are you based?
I'm in Toronto, Canada.
Oh, right. Okay, cool.
Yeah. That's why I was asking about your time zone.
Yeah,
I literally had no idea.
I knew you were somewhere different.
Yeah,
I knew you were somewhere different. I just wasn't quite sure where.
When we first logged onto the call, her first things were, "Oh, you speak English?" I'm like, yes. What did you think? Like, I'm DMing you in English and everything. Yeah, but I know you don't know what the hell to expect. This could be like we're gonna talk about Durman this whole episode.
Are we actually?
No, I don't.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah. Durman is like the other side of the bridge in like Khartoum, and that's all I know. And I think Ola knows a lot more. So I literally was just thinking of an example, but we're gonna come back to Durman though. So you were born in the UK, right? Can you actually just give me like a really quick overview of kind of just so I get the basis of how you got into comedy, and then we'll take it from there, you know?
Okay, so I love comedy, always wanted to do comedy, but as you probably know, as a Sudanese Muslim girl with Sudanese very strict parents, we are limited to 3 degrees. How about you tell me what they are?
Engineering, doctor, and then the third one is it could be that's debatable. That's a gray area. It could be business, law, nursing. It could be the
third one is me.
A comedian?
No, can you imagine?
Yeah, I'm like, pharmacy. Whoa, you're a parent. Oh, pharmacy, that's hilarious. Guess what I am?
Oh, don't tell me you're a pharmacist. I'll actually have to.
I'm an engineer.
Oh, right. I was going to say, I'm not talking to another pharmacist. Literally cannot be bothered.
Are those all the podcasts in the UK? Just pharmacists have all the podcasts in the UK?
No, I don't think there's any other pharmacist in the UK that would, because I think a lot of the pharmacists I work with actually wanted to do pharmacy or were passionate about pharmacy. There's nothing wrong with pharmacy.
No, of course
it's a good degree. It's a good job.
Same with engineering.
It's just not. Yeah, of course. My brother's an engineer, but he doesn't practice as an engineer. He went into something else.
Same.
Because, yeah, exactly. So, I ended up I did pharmacy because I didn't do medicine and I didn't do engineering. So
exactly.
I did pharmacy.
And that logic makes total sense. I'm not going to ask any follow-up question, but I bet when you grew up, it'd be like, so I don't want to be a doctor or a fucking engineer. So here's plan C. People are like,
there's plan A, B, or C.
Yeah.
A, B, or C, and it had to be one of the 3.
Same. I had A or B, doctor, engineer.
Oh, you didn't get third option?
No. I wasn't so lucky. But if anything, you think about it, engineering is the easiest, right? I looked at it as a kid as how many years are you in school? And it seemed like if pharmacy was that option too, pharmacies, you need a degree and then some extra school, right? Oh, I don't know how it is
5 years.
Okay.
5 years altogether. Yeah. So 4 years and then 1 year pre-registration and then exams and then you're registered. So 5 years in total.
Okay.
Minimum 5 years. Some people, it takes them obviously longer. Some people have to do something before. But I didn't even think about it in time. I couldn't do engineering because I was so whack at physics. Literally I couldn't grasp it.
That was me in biology.
Biology is just memorizing.
I know, and I recognize that, and I'm like, I like the little puzzle of math and physics and stuff. And I'm
that's annoying because I love maths. It's such a shame. Like, I wouldn't have minded using maths as like, but it would have to be like kind of organic maths, not.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, when you go into engineering, you don't even see numbers anymore. It's all proofs and symbols, and just all it is the freaking Greek alphabet. You know?
Nah, CBA for that has to be hardcore mathematics. So I wasn't using anything that I enjoyed. Basically, it's not what I expected. It's not that I didn't enjoy it, but it's just one of those things. Like, you just do it. So I did some hosting at uni, but nothing serious because exams kind of took over and stuff.
Hosting as in hosting comedy shows or hosting?
Yeah, so like just hosting different shows, hosting events, hosting like, Diwali festivals and this and that. And, just got a bit, but I couldn't do too much.
Because that was your personality, is like, you were that personality.
Yeah, it's like pharmacy is such a waste of my personality.
Yeah, like
waste of my personality.
I look back at my life, and even if you asked me when I was in 6th grade what I wanted to be, I'd be like, oh, engineer. You know what I mean? It was already like, I already knew because those were my options, and I made the choice, not doctor, right? So yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I think the way this works is only when the person is talking does it show their camera. So only I can see you destroy a gummy worm, okay? I want the listeners to...
What?
Wasn't that a gummy worm?
No, it's a fizzy straw.
Okay, that's some UK candy. Listen, that's going to be a whole new language. Yeah, oh, how do you say it?
Sweets.
Oh, my God. We're going to talk about Umdurman, tea, biscuits. Trust me, we're going to hit on all of it, all right?
Oh, you bloody stereotypical.
Okay. Well, I mean, you already said sweets, so this is perfect. I love it. What was I going to ask? So hosting just fell in your lap because you were always that personality, right?
Yeah. So I ran a what do you call it? An
open mic.
I know what
we call it. Open mic.
You've got you've got the basketball association and football
like a club?
University. Yeah, club. A club.
Gotcha.
And it was a multicultural club, so I used to host all our events. But that was only for the first 2 years. After, when it got to 3rd year, 4th year, and pre-reg, there was literally no time for anything.
Yeah,
I think, as you know, you find yourself getting into that cycle of expenditures, outgoing, so you're under pressure to work, and then mortgage, and then this, and then that.
Yep.
So I was basically I was stuck, and I kept saying, next year I'll start. Next year I'll do something. Next year I'll do something. Next year. And it was next year. And then I hit the big 3-0.
Gotcha. Okay. We're talking about years. Do I dare? Is there a stigma on 3-0 in over there? Like.
Yes, there is.
Okay. All right. Okay. We'll leave it at that. So you hit that, and then you were like.
And then I was like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
I was like, what am I doing? I was like, I'm going to keep saying next year until when? Until when? So I was like, allow this. I'm going to do it. So I was living in Manchester at the time.
Now, how far is that from London? Just I'm a stupid Canadian redneck boy, you know.
From London, it's 3.5 hours drive.
Okay,
it's about 200 miles. Do you go by miles?
We go by kilometers. We're not that bad. Come on, we're not that bad.
Oh, I don't know what it is in kilometers, but I know it's 200 miles.
Whoa, you guys do miles in England?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess the English were the original imperial system, right?
We are the original imperial system.
That's hilarious. You guys got inches. You guys use weird units for weight, like
kilograms.
No. yeah, that one.
What the hell do you use?
No. You use like, okay, your money's like squid or something. Quid. There's quid, right?
Quid, yeah. Wow, that's a slang way of saying it.
Yeah, and it also sounds like a Harry Potter book, so it's perfect. I love it. I'll give you.
Quidditch. I see where you went there.
I'll give you 4 quid for that. You know.
Oh my! I don't know what accent that sounded Mandarin, mate. It didn't sound British.
Oh fuck! So, do you hit the open mic scenes hard in Manchester? Or did you have to move there first, or like move out of there?
No. So the Manchester comedy scene's sick. I'd say it's second, probably after London. It's kinder than the London circuit. So people are more. That's how it came across. People like are very supportive in the Northwest. I felt like they were. So I hit the open mic scene. Well, I was actually quite lucky. I did literally about 3 or 4 open mics where I've had to, kind of go and apply for it. And then probably within 2 weeks, my name already kind of got out there. So people were messaging me to ask me to do gigs. Unpaid, like,
Yeah, of course. Can I ask, the open mic system there, is it list based? Is there a cap at 20? Do you pay like New York, or do you book it in advance? How does the open mics work over there?
So there's some open mics, I'm talking the dirty whack ones, where you just walk in.
Yeah.
And you just perform, but then you get like some proper... People don't even do comedy. People come to moan about their ex-wives, or they come to just stand on stage and be like, I just want to know how it feels like to be on a stage. So it's nothing like serious. And then you've got the ones where
the deranged. You forgot the deranged.
Mate, you have no idea.
I do. I went to the open mic scene in Detroit and San Francisco. So,
I think they're not like the British though.
Oh yeah, give me an example that like tells me what you mean by like a British nightmare open mic scene or situation.
Probably one of the first ones I went to. They're all like completely drunk. First of all, like because they're nervous, so they'll drink a lot. I'd say about 50% of them forget their lines and tell you openly, "Oh, I forgot my lines. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to talk about." And they'll see a chair. They'll be like, "Okay, I'm going to try and make that chair funny." And it's just literally, and I'm like, what am I doing? But the thing is, the audience are probably just as drunk as the person on the stage. So sometimes, like, what people need to understand, it's not easy. You don't perform to people who actually want to see comedy straight away. Sometimes
it's rarely that.
And it's a bit of a struggle and stuff, but so alhamdulillah, like, it was like that for a while. And don't even get me wrong, like, even when I was starting to pick up, I was still performing in like places like that. But after time, some of the proper comedy clubs reached out to me, and and I started performing at like bigger clubs. And when you start performing at bigger clubs, bigger promoters hear of you, and then when bigger promoters hear of you, blah, 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 it kind of goes on from there. I entered a competition, so it's one of the biggest. Do you have gong shows where you are?
Probably, but I don't know by that name. What's a gong show?
A gong show is basically you apply, it's like a competition, you apply for it, and then 3 members of the audience randomly are assigned with red cards. So your job as a comedian is to go on stage, and you've got 5 minutes to impress. And in those 5 minutes, the audience can start booing you, and that prompts the people to put red cards up. And if you get 3 red cards, you have to get off the stage.
Oh, that's awesome. We don't have anything like that at all. I think I'm going to
lucky like you.
Oh, is it terrible?
Oh, it's the scariest experience ever. Because so I entered that competition, and the 4 people before me, they all got carded and booed off. So obviously I was absolutely terrified, but I won, and I made it to the next stage. I made it to the semi-finals, and then I made it to the World Series. I didn't win the World Series. This comedian who's amazing, who's good, is a really good guy. His name's Toussaint. Did he win that year? I think it was him that won that year. But because I got to the World Series after only, gigging in the circuit for like 4 months, I think that in itself worked in my favor. And then there's the biggest comedy platform, like news-wise, is called Chortor News.
Yeah.
So in their, like, one of their articles, they were there at the World Series, they made a mention of me, and then obviously that put me on the map. And then
did they do it? They made the mention like via social media, or they were just like, we got Ola's, like we've been seeing her and like she's on the map?
No, it was a really good mention. They were like, Ola, who's new on the circuit, basically never seen her before. She came up and she impressed them, blah 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 blah. And they said some good things, and they obviously.
That's a huge vouch.
Yeah, it was massive. I was really surprised that I was even on there. Like I was like, what? So
what changed after the mention for you in that? Wait, so at this, this was like this is in Manchester at this time?
Yes, I was in Manchester at this time. I only moved down south 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks? Okay. You know, I feel interesting. It's like
4 weeks ago.
England is the only place where the south is like the good area, right? It's usually always the north is the nice, but it seems like in England, it's like, ooh, we're going to the south.
No, I think when you say south, do you mean
like
London?
more London, yeah, exactly. And
so
north is more
Londoners will say London's the best. London. No, they need to calm down. There's more to London. So Londoners will tell you that, but I don't live in London. So I live even souther than London. I live across on the seafront in a place called Portsmouth. So I wouldn't London's nice, but I need the fresh air. Like I don't like it too crammed, and I like being near the sea. I like sea air. So I personally, but London's like an hour away from me. It's not that long of a drive.
Are there any gigs for you locally where you're at?
Oh hell no!
Oh no, yeah.
Anyways. Because there's a big Sudanese community here.
Ah, yes, of course. Okay, I got
you. Very judgmental.
That's perfect. اسمع البنتيكا اسمها شفت علا وبنت her like daughter of whoever.
I was waiting. I was like, does this guy know my dad's name?
No, bit whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like daughter of whoever. Masha, she's going. تعمل الكوميدي
وهي صيدلانيه ما لم تضيع وقتها في حاجه اسمها كوميدي. I was like, I'll CBA for that. Not that they go to comedy clubs or anything, but it's dead here anyway. There's nowhere to perform. There's theaters, and when like big names are touring, maybe they'll come down here, but I don't think it kind of has the scene for that. Like there's a place not far away called Southampton, so some stuff happens there only 20 minutes away. Southampton.
Yeah. Ooh.
Nah, it's a shithole.
Oh fuck. Okay.
Absolutely shithole. Yeah.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
the States totally recreated that Hampton brand, huh? Now in the States, it's like, ooh, they took it.
It's not that it's a shithole. Obviously, it has like good parts, but like because I'm from Portsmouth, there's a massive rivalry between Southampton and Portsmouth. So everyone from Southampton says Portsmouth shit, and everyone from Portsmouth says Southampton shit. So I don't think it's shit, but because it's part of my upbringing to say that it's shit.
Do you ever go to Southampton and talk shit about Portsmouth?
Oh hell no, mate! Can you imagine? No,
because the Sudanese community is not there, so you could do comedy. But then you are turning your back on. But you just moved to Portsmouth, right? You didn't grow up there, did you?
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, born and raised.
Let me ask this: is there a huge Sudanese? So there's a huge Sudanese community in Portsmouth, England.
Yeah, big. It never used to be. Like in my day, there was only 3 families, and they're like practically family to me. But it wasn't until the early 2000s that more families started to come in. But before, there was no Sudanese people.
Gotcha.
Now there's loads.
I grew up in a place called London, Ontario. So we're in the second London, all right? We got
you bloody copyright.
Yeah, exactly. We're the Canadians. We're like, please, mother, may I have a bailout, mother? No, like literally, I grew up in London.
May I have a what? A bailout?
Yeah, I don't think in countries, I don't know. That was on the fly. I'd bomb. That'd be the 3rd red card for me at the Gong Show. Oh God! Why did I come?
Here's my red card.
Yeah, those actually look like freaking what's it called? Gummy worms. But anyways, enough on that. Oh yeah, you're right. It was the straws. Huh? I judge you. So I grew up huge Sudanese community, and in my community. So my dad. This is probably the story all over the world. My dad very educated. You know what I mean? He studied in Sudan. Got his MBA in economics for a scholarship in like Holland. Worked in the. I grew up in Oman for a couple of years. Then I moved to Canada when I was in grade 1, so 6 years old. And then my dad came to Canada, and all of his European like diplomas and work experience, not just the African, even the European stuff, they weren't willing to accept. So he couldn't get anything. So my dad pretty much ended up driving a cab for 15 years plus, right? And it's a huge, and he's one of the rare, very educated ones in the Sudanese community. And
what did he study?
He has his MBA in economics. He's got his undergrad in finance. He was a minister of finance for Oman. Like we lived in Muscat for like one of them. They have multiple ministers, but like very lived in Jeddah, like Saudi for 6 years. Fine, taught in Jamiat al Khartoum, like University of Khartoum. Lectured there. So all this stuff they didn't see it. Ended up driving a cab here and a lot of the Sudanese people in this community and the Somalian refugees and new immigrants drive cabs. And now it's changing because of Uber and Lyft culture, because the cabs used to grant you the opportunity to have a lot of cash income. You know what I mean? It's really heavy taxing when you claim everything. That's why people love gig work that have tips, right? So now it's kind of going away. I want to know in Portsmouth, is there like an industry that all the Sudanese people go toward? Like, are they all doing warehousing? Are they all driving the cabs? Is everyone like, are they actually, what's the word? Like morphing into the society? Like actually distributing themselves between professions? Because I never saw that.
So it's the same here. You do get a lot of cab drivers. They do taxi. They work as security guards as well a lot. It's a shame because a lot of them are educated, like really, really, really educated people, like really, really educated people. My dad's a geologist. He's got a PhD in geology. And, I said 3 families came to Portsmouth.
Yeah. What? Continue, sorry.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, so 3 families came, like, we're here from the beginning. Like, there was no other Sudanese. It was my dad and 2 other people, and they were all geologists. So they all went to uni together, worked together at the Ministry of Geology, and they all came to the UK together. And they all worked as geologists for, like, doing their PhDs and stuff. But in the UK, what is there to geologize? It's nothing. It's all just go to concrete and thingy.
Yeah, you got to go to the Gulf.
Exactly. Yeah. So my dad did odd jobs here and there, gotcha. Like manual jobs or whatever. And then eventually he was like, I can't, he was like, what can I do that will benefit me? So he went and did a master's in maths and became a mathematics teacher we say secondary school. I think you guys say high school.
We say that too. Yeah, we say this. We say secondary school. Like we say high school, but when you drive by the school, it'll say like Queen Secondary School,
Okay, yeah. So from like 12 years to about 16 years old.
So that's awesome. That's an amazing story because I rarely saw people there was literally 2 or 3 Sudanese uncles in the community that I saw actually, like one guy who against all odds, one Sudanese ammu, I still remember him to this day. He somehow got he worked at the local movie theater, the Silver City. And which is rare for a Sudani new immigrant with a family, But he worked his way up, and like while I grew up 10-15 years, he worked his way up to being like the managing director. Like I don't know how it works he worked his way up really high, right? And like every Eid for like 10 years, when we saw him in Eid, we'd be like, oh, can we get free tickets? He's like, we'll see. Never once gave us one. Never once. Every Eid we asked for one.
There's no wastas in these countries. But do you know what? Like, in all honesty, it does break my heart. It upsets me to see or hear, like to know that your dad, mashallah, like he worked as a minister, like that's massive. He's so educated and he's driving a taxi. It really, really upsets me when my uncle Abdul Qadir, Allah yarhamu. He's a a doctor in geology, and he came here and he worked as a taxi man his whole life. And like, we need to figure out why this is happening. Like, I don't know about Canada, but in the UK, there is a lot of resources to help you. It's not easy, but education is offered, and any education before university or college, as you call it, it is free. You don't have to pay for it, but you get like student loans and stuff. Oh, it's the same. Okay.
Same here. And you get student loans for college.
Yeah, and you get student loans, exactly. So the thing is that's available to you if you want it. So I think the kind of question is, why don't people take it? I get, like, in our fathers' ages, you don't want to come to a country and you've already got kids and you want to go to school all over again or go to college all over again. I get that. But I know, subhanAllah, it's the women that go back and study. So I know a lot of women who, after having their kids, their husband will be, whether they'll be taxi people or working in restaurants as waiters or working like
the service
security.
industry.
Yeah, the service industry. The women will go back to college and they will get degrees and they'll have fantastic jobs.
But in Sudan or with the degrees they got?
No, here.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Get it from here.
Okay, gotcha. That's the new generation. I'm seeing that. That's my sister. She just got married. Her husband, Walid, great guy. I think he's trying to start a restaurant right now. He's driving a cab. And my sister's literally like in the same boat. She's like educated and she's trying to up her certifications and whatnot so she can work after her, because she has like a 1-year-old. So after she gets a little older, it's the same thing. But I never saw that before, because before the generation I came, everybody came. I have 5 siblings. I'm one of 6.
Oh, mashallah.
I'm one of 6. And every family that was Sudanese around me, they at least had 3, if not 5, 6. And all of them came with a couple, at least, like some like bachelors, some single guys came. But from what I could see around me in Canada, it seemed like to be able to get into Canada, it's a lot less of a risk for immigration to let in a family than to let in a single guy, So you always see families coming in, because they had a really open door policy, but they started to close it a lot more, because everyone would say they're a refugee to get in the country, and they started doing additional screening, and then they prioritize you if you have a family. So everyone who comes has a family. So it's super tough for the guy to be like, okay, I'm going to have to put in 4 years of school on a full-time basis to be able to get a career here. But I have 3 kids right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the trap they get into. And the women, usually at that time, it was like, I know this is wrong, but this is, the time that it was. But my dad did not like the idea of my mom working. He belittled the idea of my mom working. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's a belittlement, but I think.
No, I don't talk about it in general. I'm talking about in my dad's case.
I know
my dad.
I know. But I'm just. I think it's like a Sudanese mentality that I think it hurts. I think it's all generations. Like, no disrespect, I can guarantee that if you're with a girl and then all of a sudden she was making £50,000 more than you, it would make you feel a particular kind of way.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like it makes them feel like they're becoming less of a man because their woman is working and their woman is providing. But at the end of the day, like, I personally don't think it matters to me. Even women talk about it. They were like, how can I get with a man and I make more than him? A man needs to be making more than me. Girls care about that shit. But it shouldn't matter, not in this day and age. It's like, we get paid the same, well, in some countries, but we get paid the same, we have the same opportunities, so there's like literally nothing with it. I actually love it when a man supports and pushes his wife, not only to do better than him, but to carry on developing and pushing. And that's why, wallahi, alhamdulillah, I'm so blessed to be married to Rami, because I believe there's a lot of Sudanese guys that would never support me in my kind of career
artistic endeavors,
decisions. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Can you imagine like a typical if I'm married to some next level fob and I'm like I want to be a stand
don't stand in front of the people and try to make them.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was so I know exactly what you mean 100%, and that's why I applaud you for finding that. I creep both your accounts. I'm like, okay, he's a musician. They're like, you guys are like the new generation of Sudanese. You know, you are the second Sudanese comedian I've ever met and the first female Sudanese.
Who's your first?
A guy named Ahmed in San Francisco. He's the first comedian that I know that was doing comedy before me.
What's his surname?
His surname? Ahmed, maybe Muhammad, I forget. His name is Instagram.
Oh, what a surprise.
No, you know, Ahmed Abdurrahman. What? Yeah. Screw you. I'm Ahmed Abdurrahman. I got it. Screw you. But yo, I'm saying,
no, I don't think I've heard of him. Yeah. I'll look him up.
There's like growing up, there was like no Sudanese people like in anything media that I could see. So until this day.
Here's a question for you. Yeah. What do you think about Sudanese comedy? Like Sudanese comedians, old and new.
I don't even know any Sudanese comedians, number one, because my Arabic sucks. Okay, like I can understand it, but like it's like, you know, my Arabic's not that bad. I can understand it. You know what I mean? But I just haven't even looked into Sudani comedians. Number one, and that's something I obviously have to do. Number two, the only comedy I saw in Sudan was anytime I was at a wedding. Weddings. Yeah, in Sudan, we'd have comedians at weddings. It wouldn't be comedy the way you and I know it, but it'd be kind of like an MC doing jokes and light wedding, wife, family material kind of
Wallahi, thing. I have never experienced that in my life.
Oh, I saw it a couple. That's the only time I saw a comedy. He's like, شوف الناس دي القالوا ده, you know what I mean? والله قلت
on the stage.
والله قلت له yeah. What? والله شفت زول أمس. This like yeah, literally comedy. Yeah, this was like mid 2000s when I was there. This was maybe some Hilla shit. I don't know. I don't know if I saw this in Khartoum or Madani. But
are you from Madani?
I was born in Madani.
Shut up.
Yeah, I'll show you my passport right now. It says Madani.
So your family are from Madani?
My family's from Wad Al Hindi. It's right outside Madani.
I know Wad Al Hindi.
Oh, that's where we're from. Wad Al Hindi. Okay. So you were born in. How often did they take you? Because from Canada to Sudan, taking a family of 6, it's like a $10,000 trip. So my dad would take us once every, like it's impossible to afford. But from England, it's probably way cheaper to get to Sudan, right?
Yes and no. It depends where you go. Obviously, because of like school time and etc. So we have to go during school holidays, and they bump up the price during school holidays. So it wasn't the easiest, but I think my parents would like save for all year just for us to go. We went for the first time in 1995 and didn't go again until 2001.
Okay.
And then we started
before 9/11, I hope.
Oh yeah, before 9/11 we went to Sudan. Yeah, way before 9/11.
Well, if it's 2001, it would have been in that summer. It would have been just 3 months before, because that was September 2001. It was 9/11, right? Yeah, September 2001. 11 is the September. Oh, wait.
9/11 as in the Twin Towers?
Yeah. When was
that?
I
don't think so. Because I was in year 3 when that happened. And when I was in year 3, how old was I?
Why do we call it 9/11? The reason is in that name, 9/11.
Because it happened on September the 11th.
Yeah. 2001, right? Okay, one sec.
It definitely wasn't 2001.
It happened the 11th of
September 11th, 2001. So if you went that summer, you were 2 months before 9/11.
How is that possible? The Twin Towers. I don't.
Maybe you went in 2002 or 2000.
No, I definitely went in 2001. But I remember us talking about the Twin Towers going down when I was in primary school. Like, did another event happen, like a massive one in America?
The Twin Towers got hit twice. Biggie references it in some song. In the 90s, something happened. There was an explosion or something. But the actual 9/11, the terrorist attack of 9/11 was September 11th, 2001. So the point is you dodged. So if you don't remember it, that means you went before.
I
you
remember
dodged.
it happening way before that. Yeah, mate, I don't remember, but I went in 2001 definitely, and then we started going every single year. Well, we tried to.
Oh,
but then when I got to 16, I started working anyways. Like I used to study and work at the same time, so I used to pay for my own ticket.
Okay. So did you get to the point where you would just go?
I love Sudan. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things. My love for my family in Sudan overpowers any annoyance I have with Sudan. It's like if the things that happen in Sudan happened here, it'd be a very different story. Let's put it like that.
Yeah. I feel like 80% of the world is like that. If those I'll sometimes be in you ever in like a store to pick up food and they got a TV and the TV set to the news and the bottom square of the news is always updates of tragedies. It's always like one man gets hit in London, 48 dead in Thailand, one man struck in Manchester, 98 die crushed in India. It's like so much of the world, there's so much death, but where we live, it's like any death or anything is like, it just seems crazy. That's how secure these societies and stable they are. Like world living, you just look, it'll be like person gets car accident total this, and then the next line will be someplace in, you know, like Southeast Asia or Africa that has like a slaying or like a car explosion or a suicide bombing, and you're like, wow, the majority like of the deaths are happening in like just right out of these pockets. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So then I feel like, I know there was that fire today. Did you hear about that?
A fire in Sudan today? No, I didn't.
Yeah. I think some people are saying it's a weapons factory. It's set on fire. The skies in Khartoum are like filled with ashes and smoke. You didn't hear about it? It happened a few hours ago.
No. I was just I was in the podcast plugged in.
That's probably why. Yeah.
Is it bad? Like Beirut bad?
Well, some people are comparing it to Beirut. We've got family out there and they're like, it's really bad at the moment, but they're not going to report it because it's of no benefit to anyone, is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Where did it happen? Khartoum?
Khartoum, yeah.
Damn. Yeah.
If you go on Twitter, you'll see it straight away.
Yeah. I'll look after this. That's pretty crazy. But I want to know about what you thought or just how you feel about Sudan. Do you always stay in Khartoum? Do you go to the Hilla? Like, where is your family from? The Hilla or Khartoum or like? The Hilla is the village, by the way.
Yeah, so we're from a village. Yeah, we're from a village that's about 35 minutes away from Madani.
What's it called?
It's called a Sharafa.
A Sharafa. I feel like I've heard that. They're all those, the muwasalat, the little transport, they run their circuit right around with the Hindi and Sharafa. You know what I'm talking about?
Al-Hindi, 100% I've heard of it. And I think we have someone there. I'll have to ask my dad. Like, I never know on top of my head. But I'm sure we have... who do we have? Oh, I can't even be bothered to think about it. But I know we do. Have you heard of Rufa'a?
Rufa'a was just... the only reason I feel like I heard of that was because I think Bentley Brown was there or something like that. And he brought it up.
What was he doing there?
I don't know. I feel like he just brought it up last podcast. I'm like, Rufa'a, why would I have heard of that recently? Is that where is that?
It's right next to where you live, mate.
Yeah, okay. Rufa'a. I know, let's see, Hashisa, Rabak. My uncle lives in Rabak. I was born in
Hashisa is really close to us as well.
Yeah, my dad studied in Hashisa.
Did he?
Yeah, my dad. So my dad, you know how you said exactly what people tell you about your dad? The exact same thing. You know, in Sudan back in the day, and maybe even till this day, they rank you, you know, when you do the standardized test. So they would give you a number. So I remember always going back when I would go back every 5 years to the Hilla, hang out, and they're like, Wallahi, Abook, what was it? والله أبوه رقم 6 في البلد كلها لما نخرج.
In the ranking.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? And he was, so my cousins would always tell me that
Are you
my
sure
dad
he studied in حصحيسة, not حنتوب.
I don't know if I've never heard of Hantub. But my dad's old. I mean, my dad's like 70 almost.
That's not old, rude.
Yeah, I mean, I guess probably your dad's probably around the same age, I guess.
Yeah, he's in his 60s.
Yeah, okay, well, there you go. Well, I mean, come on. Let's not deny reality. It's like 70, that's not old. Yeah, no, it's old. But yeah, I mean, he said, he said, where else? Russell something, or what am I thinking of? Umjabit, or I forget these names.
Are you just making stuff up now?
I think I might just be making stuff up. So
it's like putting some hair. You saw your reflection in the mirror and you went,
yeah, I gotta talk. It's on me. So what the Hindi and your hilla is called what again? Sharafa. They're probably the exact same living, right? Probably.
I love it though.
Yeah, isn't it? How nice are the stars at night in the hilla, you know? That's the best part for me. I always say that
you can look in the sky for Sharafa, you can, because we sleep outside, and you can look at the sky and you feel like you can truly see like the shape and the like structure of the earth. I know it sounds weird.
You see its roundness. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like you can kind of see the curvature, like almost like it's a dome being held up by something, but you just don't know what. And I love being in Sudan and seeing stuff like that, because I feel like it strengthens my faith like a lot more, because it's just mind-blowing to me. I love it so much, and having this conversation makes me want to book a ticket right now. Wallahi, it does, honestly.
I'm gonna go to Sudan soon. I gotta get to Sudan.
It's just the airports at the moment with COVID are just...
I don't mean like in the next month. You know what I mean? I just want to go to Sudan. I just want to go to Sudan. Just want to go to the Hilla, go to Khartoum, see my cousins, chill a little bit, eat shaya.
Oh, my days, get gout. Take a nap. Oh, I love napping in Sudan more than anything. I love it.
I love the Hilla. It's like all my cousins are engineers. All of them have an engineering degree, but everyone's just on a bed under the tree. Everyone is on a bed under the tree. كل واحد نايم.
Don't you want to be?
Yeah, 100%. I'm out here working like an idiot.
I swear, I don't know what I'd do with myself. You know, they think, oh, you know, in England, oh, حظك التماشى, oh, حظك التماشى. But if only they knew actually mentally how they have it good.
Yeah, it always looks like we're going to the promised land, you know, from this end. Yo, I just remembered something that's so funny. From Wad Al Hindi, there was a family whose dad became a doctor and lives in the UK.
Oh, amazing.
So one time, I think I was 10. It was right around 9/11 too. I was there. I remember all the Hilla kids would get me and my brother, and they'd be like, hey, تعال, what Canada? And they'd come around us. And they're like, اتكلم انجليزي, قول حاجة, like say something, you know what I mean? And I remember because we were in the Hilla, when we went to Sudan, we would go to Khartoum for 2 weeks, and we have a place there in the Hilla, and we'd be in the Hilla for like 3 months. It'd all be Hilla living, you know?
I love it.
We'd be there, I swear to you, for a month. Oh, what Canada? They're bothering me. Canada boy. And then the end of the month, the doctor's family came to visit the Hilla from England.
Yes.
And and they had a boy the same age as me, and I shit you not, there was a leader of the Wad Canada like mob, and when that kid came, literally this happened. He goes, I forget how to even say it, he goes, oh, he's from UK. They invented it. And then the crowd swarmed, moved from me and went to him. And I was like, yes. And he was literally being enveloped by people. I saw his arm go up. Like, like
have you seen Terminator 2?
Probably. That's just subconsciously. Did I just redo a scene from there?
Yeah, you know Arnold Schwarzenegger, when at the end, like he has to self-terminate. So he goes in the lava and he's sinking, and then you just see his arm.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what Britannia.
What Britannia?
Is that what? That's what they would say. That's what they say, Britannia.
They're so annoying. When I went in 2001, my dad's sister, she has a daughter who's a little bit younger than me, and she was like, "Ola, تعال عرسك لمرفد بنتي." And I was like, لكن I was like, عمته مرفت بيت. And she was like, ما شاء الله انتي ما فاهمة.
She didn't think you would know.
Bro, I was like 14 years old. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm happy to swing that way if you're happy with me to swing that way.
whatever floats your boat.
Whatever floats your boat.
You kept going back year after year. And
I do love Sudan, yeah.
When you go there, do you feel like you have the full autonomy to just like let's say you're in Khartoum, to grab the muwasalat, go somewhere, meet, or do you have friends there? It's pretty much just hanging out with family, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Like, in the first few years, like prior to, because I lived at home, so I was fully like dependent on my parents, not financially, but to do things for me. Yeah. But when I moved out in 2014, and then I started going to Sudan, and I went to Sudan in 2015, it was very much like, أنا طالعة, I'll grab a rickshaw, I'll grab an amjad on my own.
Whoa, sick.
Like, I'll kind of like get my bearings. So
like I'm leaving,
I'd be on the phone. Yeah. Like obviously we still had to be home by decent hours. So we'd be home by like بعد المغرب, like before Isha, that.
Just
no funny business kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, like even if I went to Sudan now, I came back in December, but if I went to Sudan now, I think I'll be relatively comfortable, like staying there without my parents and being able to get around and buying stuff. And, I think I'd be okay doing that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I haven't been to Sudan since 2009.
Whoa.
2009, that Christmas break, I went to Sudan. 10 years. 10 years, yeah, exactly.
Man, that's mad.
So I really want to go back and just be in an environment, because right now I default, any opportunity I have to speak Arabic, I default to English. So my Arabic is just deteriorating. You know what I mean? Like, and now that I can't find words, I'm embarrassed. So I try to speak it more. But the best lesson would be just delve in there for a month. 3 weeks. That'll be.
Do you hang out with Sudanese people in Canada?
I don't have a lot of Sudanese people here around me at all. Like, I have a couple of Sudanese people that know me on my Instagram.
Did you say you live in Toronto?
I live in Toronto, yeah.
Bro, that is Sudan. Like, what are you talking about?
I know there's Sudanese people here, you know what I mean? But I only moved to Toronto like 2 years ago. Only pursuing.
How were you before?
I was in, my story is that I grew up in London, right? The fake London. And then I went to school in a city called Waterloo, because we steal everything.
I've heard of Waterloo, yeah.
Yeah. And then I went to the States for 3 years. I worked in Detroit and San Francisco for engineering for 3 years. So kind of your same thing. And I would do open mics at night for that whole last year. And then at one point, the company I was working for went bankrupt. I lose my job. I lose my visa. So I moved back to Canada at late 2017. And I get like my bearings in London for a couple months. And then I moved to Toronto just about 2 years now, May of 2018. And since then, I've just been out here just grinding these open mics, doing comedy content, trying to get into acting business, doing jobs here and that. I haven't been in social mode at all. The only Sudanese people I know are the ones now who are seeing me from my social media, and the ones I grew up with and my family in London.
And how is your comedy going?
I mean, right now, that's why I wanted to ask you about how the post-COVID rollout is happening. I don't know if you can even say post-COVID yet, but how that's happening comedy-wise on your end. Because for us, we're just trickling in patio shows, outdoor-only shows. The law is we can technically perform indoors, but not a lot of venues are endorsing it so far. So
it's exactly same as us, yeah.
And you see some of the major clubs are opening again. I haven't been to any. I just don't know what they're doing. People every 2 seats, not seating. I know a club in Toronto just put plexiglass in front of the stage, separating the audience and the comedian. Imagine this.
But the problem isn't the spread between the comedian and the audience. The comedian's way more than 2 meters away from a front seat. So that's not the issue. The issue is contraction between audience members. What are they thinking?
Exactly. That separation, that barrier only applies to one person. You know what I mean? And the nightmare of it all is that apparently when you perform, you can see your reflection in the plexiglass. Which is
That would be the most
I know. That's what
ever.
You don't understand how much of a nightmare if you don't do comedy. That's like, I mean, you probably could imagine that to kind of be able to see yourself would just be the worst thing possible.
So, you know, when people practice, that people always ask me, how do you practice? And I used to see, like, in the open mic, people like looking in the mirror and talking to themselves, and I can see them going.
That's crazy. I've never seen that, but that's
I cannot practice in the mirror. It sounds really weird, but I annoy the fuck out of me. Like, the concept of me annoys me. So I can't imagine talking to myself in the mirror over and over again.
You're a real comedian, by the way. That's a true comedian.
Oh, is it really?
You're like, yeah, you're like, I'm fed up with myself. I need to come, you know what I mean?
I need to do something else. But what I don't mind doing is like performing it. Like, just say, for example, I've got a big show. I'll go to an open mic, like a small thingy, and use that to practice my sketch, record myself. And then I'm more than happy to watch it back.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't like watching or listening to myself, but I do it out of necessity to see where stuff pops. That thing I said in the moment that I don't remember, but I remember it was funny, like that type of stuff. But but for me, I don't know if you drive, but and you said you have a lot of gigs, 1 hour drive to London. So I'm sure you do this. I say my bits out loud in the car. That's my favorite place, is in the car driving. I say my bits out loud. I can't look at myself and do my bits. Like, I don't do that mirror thing. Oh, I'd rather just be alone doing my bits out loud than listening to myself quietly, or listening to a recording of me at a show. Yes.
Yeah, I get you.
There's something about I hate my voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hate my voice too.
That's all I think about.
Because I feel like I don't sound like myself.
Yeah.
Like when I hear me back, I'm like, oh my God, do I sound like that? And it makes me love my husband more because he has to listen to me. I feel so bad. Actually, I don't feel bad. I'm listening
to my recordings. I'm like, deepen your voice, little bitch. I'm like, you know? I'm like, it's not that high. What the fuck? But right now.
So what are you doing with COVID then?
Like I said, just some patio shows outdoor. I have a show tonight in 3 hours, 7 o'clock.
Nice.
I'm slowly rolling back out. I'll tell you this. I've done 5 shows since COVID first came and stopped everything. I've done like 5 shows. 6
Tell me your opening line.
Well, I change it all the time. I just make fun of the whatever's happening. Right now I've been saying like 2020 is crazy. You know, I matter now, which I didn't see that coming. Yeah, right. Like, and then I get into this whole race stuff. I do a lot of race stuff. I really grew up on the school of Chappelle, so I find that Chappelle. I do a lot of that. You know, you mimic kind of your favorites, and then slowly you craft your own voice. So I'm still in that. I find sometimes I hear myself doing that, a little bit of that Chappelle, you know, society observation, commentary, kind of racial stuff.
Go and tell me something. Give me a joke.
Okay. So like I do one bit about, I've said this before on the podcast for those listening. I just don't want to give out all the stuff, but you probably get this because it's weird being a black Arab, you know?
I don't classify myself as an Arab at all, so
over here, I grew up in the Arab community. I classify myself as a black Arab, black Canadian. Like, it's not like one thing at all. But the point is that people find it weird, you know? Like, one time I was talking to my mom on the phone and in Arabic, and a buddy of mine came up and he goes, bro, I thought you were black. You know? So then I'm like, what do you think black is? You know? Like, the police pull you over, they read your name. Oh, Abbas Wahab. I'm mistaken. You know? Right? I thought you were black.
Do you have that issue in Canada as well? I feel like Canadians are more...
Yeah, it's better. But you know what it is that sucks about the police in Canada. It's pretty peaceful here. So when they pull you over, when they do anything, they have so much time on their hand and they take their sweet fucking time with the ticket or all that. You know what I mean? That's the annoying thing about them. But they're not really like shooting black people left and right or anything.
Yeah, good.
It's more of a native problem here. You know, that disparage thing that's happening. Actually, it's black and native, because the native are the historically disenfranchised in Canada.
Yeah, because a lot of British people, especially like Sudanese people, for example, a lot of them want to go to Canada. You'll find, but it's very difficult to get visas, to get conversions, like degree conversions. But once you make it to Canada, it's like people, it is a better lifestyle than here. It is better income than here. It's better healthcare than here. It's better safety than here. The people are nicer than here.
Is it better healthcare? Is the UK's healthcare a problem?
Yes. It's free healthcare, but we're very much understaffed. And, you know, like if you need a scan, you can be waiting, or if you've got a referral, you can wait up to 3 months to get seen, depending on the severity and stuff like that. But it's not.
That's what happens
easy.
when it's public. So I lived in Canada pretty much most of my life. It's free here, right? Same kind of thing. You go to the emergency, you're there. I hit my head, like I have a scar right here. See that right there? I have that scar.
Yeah, above your eyebrow.
Yeah, I hit my older brother's forehead when I was 6. I was 6, he was 8, but he was short. And we were running around and we smashed foreheads. And I blew my head open. And I was bleeding from the head down to my like toes. Literally, when I showered later that night, I had blood on my toes just trickling down. But they put me in the, this was in 97, 98. I was in the emergency waiting area for 3 hours. And then they put me in like they took me to a doctor's office and I was there for 2 hours, you know?
Yeah, same. Yeah.
So 5 hours to get a 6-year-old's head stitched, you know?
Oh, did you end up getting stitches?
Yeah, I ended up, so it sounds like UK, they would just send you home at that point. I don't know what I had like a lot of stitches. It was like,
but because you're pediatric, you would probably, I guess here you would have been seen quicker.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point is, as a 6-year-old, it's the same, the system falls prey to the same issues because it's public, right? It's limited to what the money they're willing to put into it. But then I moved to the States and they have a terrible universal plan because it doesn't exist. But what they do have is amazing private healthcare. And I started getting these engineering jobs that are like, you know, like mid-level good career job that has benefits. Oh, the medicine I had access to, I had a rash on my nose and I needed to see a dermatologist. I didn't even have to go to a physician and be like, I have a rash on my nose. I just called a dermatologist and they're like,
that's amazing.
They're like, do you want to come tomorrow at 2 or 4?
No, but you pay probably good money for that kind of level of insurance. If I had private insurance,
just copay. You just pay your copays, which is $25, and depending on your level of benefits, sometimes it's 0 copay. Like if you have a proper career, you're gonna have good health insurance. But obviously, that's like a numbers game. A lot of people aren't in that. But I didn't know that. I got that job. I got the benefits, and I'm coming from Canada, where I was expecting to go to a family doctor who's gonna give me a referral, and then I'm gonna call the office, and they're gonna tell me they can get me in 3 weeks. And I was like,
3 weeks. When I needed a dermatologist, I had a 2.5 month waiting time.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when it's free, right? No, it's like a balance. It's either you pay for it and some people get ruined, or
here you can get private insurance if you want to. Yeah, you can get private insurance here if you want to. You have to pay for it out of your own pocket. But because you pay like taxes that go towards your NHS, sometimes you feel like what a waste of money, because like you're technically paying for it because it's coming out of your taxes, and then on top of that you're paying for your private insurance. I wonder how much private insurance costs here. I'm not actually sure.
What's taxes like in is it way more in London? Like I'm talking about, is there city tax or is it just by the country?
No, it's by the country.
So if you made like £100,000 in Canada, that would be like you'd probably get taxed 35% of that. At least, probably in net, because it's obviously brackets, but when it comes down to the chunk they're taking, probably around 35-36%.
Here it depends. in a nutshell, the first £11,000 you make is untaxed.
Same here,
then from
dollars.
Yeah. So, and then from 11,000 to 30,000, it's like that between the 11 and the 30, you get taxed 20%. And then between the 30,000 and the 40 something thousand, you get taxed 30%. And then anything above like whatever it is, like 50 something thousand, you get taxed 50%.
50%?
So, of anything over the 50,000. So not on everything.
No, I know. I totally get. I know. I do my own taxes, so I get the brackets. But that's crazy because I think Canada has the highest bracket is 49% tax, and I think that isn't used until income over $250,000 or $400,000. I forget which one of those two.
I don't think it's.
I feel like 50,000. They take over 50. They take 50% of anything over 50. That's crazy.
Is it 50 or is it 50 something? Yeah, I'm sure.
That's why people want to come to Canada, I bet, huh? They're like,
yeah.
That sounds horrible.
The thing is that I feel with this country is like the harder you work, the more you earn, the more you get taxed. So I genuinely believe here, no matter how hard you work, you don't feel like I honestly don't feel like I'm financially in a better situation than I was when I first qualified. I really can't see the difference. Oh. So I feel like here, if you're rich, you're rich. If you're working, whether you're working as a taxi person, by the way, taxi people, they're self-employed. They can make really good money.
Yeah, that's why they all go in it in London where I grew up. Because it's
exactly.
not bad money. They don't go in
exactly. Like easily, a taxi person can probably make more than me. A taxi person definitely made more than me when I was starting off as a pharmacist. Even when I progressed to a band 7, they were definitely probably making more than me. But I just feel like here, it doesn't matter what you do, whether, like my dad's example was, he said, I'm a teacher and your mum's a teaching assistant, and we live in the same neighborhood. So next door to someone who, one of them doesn't work and the other one works part-time doing in a call center or something like that. So we were probably making 4 times the income they were making.
But it's the same.
But we drive similar cars. We go to similar places. We go on similar holidays. So the middle class
is like massive.
Yeah. There's no like you don't feel
prosper.
the advantage.
Yeah, you never prosper. It's like that's interesting. I never heard that.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
I don't know if the pharmacy system or process is similar to Canada, but why is it I gotta come back in like 20-25 minutes? What is it you guys are doing when I come and give you a thing? And they always say, come back in 20. That's how it is here. I don't know if it's if someone shows up with a script for medication, do you give it to them? Do you give it to them right away? Like within a couple minutes, put it together? Because here they're always like, come back.
Yeah, because I think people don't understand that there's a lot that goes into it. We don't just take the prescription and take it off the bloody shelf and then give it to you. We have to check. We have to, like, from a hospital perspective, like we check a lot. We check to make sure it's the right dose, that it's the right product for you. So I don't know, say for example, you were diagnosed with high blood pressure. Okay.
Which I probably will be, but continue.
I hope not. But a medication that I would give to you is different than a medication that I would give to a white man. It's different between someone who's above the age of 55 and someone who's under the age of 55. It's different if you've got other comorbidities, whether it might be you have diabetes or your renal function or your liver function. I have to check all of this. I have to check, like, it's not as easy as picking it off the shelf. I have to make sure that what they give you is the right thing for you. So when I get some next level dickhead saying, it's over there, I can see it, it's on the shelf, just don't pick it up and give it to me. It's like, all right then, but if it fucking kills you, don't come back to me and complain, why has this medication caused my arm to fall off?
Now I'm never gonna complain about that again. I just honestly wanted to know. Okay, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm mad. I'm thinking I'm seeing is what you see from the outside: lab coats, couple bags. Just pass me the bag, right? But I didn't realize you guys were consulting all of your freaking school knowledge. Like, how does that work? Do you have to Google things, or is there like a playbook? Be like, okay, diabetic, therefore they only give up to 10 milligrams, and they're this.
Yeah. So obviously there's a lot of resources, but the thing is, like, so I did a postgrad. So I did a 2-year clinical postgrad. So a lot of these things with experience come to you. So say, for example, I could look at a prescription and maybe make sure it's appropriate within 5 minutes, but someone with less experience than me, maybe it will take them 20, 25 minutes because they have to look things up. They have to make sure. So they'll be like, oh, it says on here he's diabetic. Can I give this medication? If he's diabetic, oh, let me just look it up. But I can know because I've done it like 1,000,000 times before. Do you know what I mean?
And are they very strict on you, like the head pharmacist or the department, on your due diligence? They stress that like constantly? Because I'm assuming you fall prey to lawsuits if this shit goes south, right?
Oh yeah, 100%, and it's absolutely terrifying. If you look at a lot of the cases here, especially in my opinion, when it comes to people of color, they are waiting for you to fuck up so they can get rid of you. I really feel like that. I think there's a very big blame culture here. So yeah, you have to be really, really careful. I know people who have been taken off the pharmacy register, for example. I know doctors that have been taken off the doctor's register, and not because they're unprofessional or this or that, but because they're under so much pressure. They make mistakes because there's no support, and they end up getting struck off, and it's not their fault at all. You must have heard of the massive news of that Nigerian doctor that got struck off because the consultant went home early, and one of the other doctors wasn't teaching, and she just come out of maternity. So she was covering 3 pediatric wards, and she was just one person. And one of her patients ended up dying of renal failure, a little Down syndrome boy. And it wasn't even her fault. The mother, the mother wasn't informed that the child was not to be given any medication because the blood pressure was really, really low. So the blood pressure was really, really low, but the mum, I don't know, Allahu Alam, I don't know, was she not educated or whatever, but she ended up giving the child his normal medication without consulting the doctor or the nurses, and that resulted in the child, that resulted in the death. And the Nigerian doctor got the blame for it, even though she had like maybe 50 or 60 patients under her care. And but you know what? I reckon, and without exaggerating, almost every doctor in this country screamed for her defense. But they didn't give a shit. They didn't care. She still struck off.
Struck off means you're blacklisted. You cannot practice.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And is there recourse for her, like appeals?
No, they don't. Very rarely can you appeal, and when you do appeal, it's still on your record and your employabilities.
So did they strike her off to appease the media, or like if?
Do you know what? I'll send you the link about it, but wallahi, when you read it, it will make you realize how disgustingly unsupported we are. Look at the number of doctors that have died and people of color that have died during the COVID in the NHS. 90% of healthcare workers that have died, 90% of them have been non-white staff. And I'm not saying this because, like, these are statistics. I'm not like making this up.
Yeah, these are facts.
You can you can access it and you can have a look.
Is it because they shift around like shifts so that specific people have the most exposure to the front lines?
Well, I find it really interesting that there was an article that was written on Nursing Times. Nursing Times is the nursing newspaper outlet, so there's no messing around or whatever. It's there. So nurses from immigrant backgrounds have come forward, and because we've got a shortage of healthcare workers, so we bring in nurses from India, from the Philippines, from Europe, from this, from that. But some of them came forward and they say, we believe that as nurses from immigrant backgrounds or whatever, that according to rotas, we're being put on wards that have higher levels of COVID patients. So there was like a big oh my God, what's happening? But do you know what? They don't care until they're exposed. Yeah. And as soon as there started to be a lot of tweeting and sharing and this and that of this kind of information and these statistics, all of a sudden, come Monday morning, I get called into the office and they were like, oh, Ola, because you're black and, because of all of this or that, we can no longer put you on a COVID ward. And I'm like... They
said this?
My manager.
Did this?
Yeah.
Just as the pendulum swinging the total other way.
Yeah, completely.
Only white people can die while the media sees what's happening.
No, well, basically the media is showing that more black people are dying, so they have to be seen to be doing something about it.
Wow.
But what was hilarious that he's having this conversation with me, even though it's not his fault, it's how the government, the people at the top
overcorrection. Yeah, that's how it works. They overcorrect.
And it's too late. At that point, they knew that I was off work for 3 weeks. I got COVID and almost bloody died of it. And that was because of lack of PPE, lack of support, lack of protection, lack of everything. It was rubbish. So I ended up getting COVID. I ended up getting really, really, really sick with it.
Whoa, so you actually got COVID?
Yeah, I got corona. I tested positive for it. I got really sick with it.
You are officially the first person I've ever met, not in contact, but you're the only person I've ever talked to who's had COVID.
Yeah.
How was it? How was it?
Wallah al-azim, and I'm not even exaggerating, it was one of the worst feelings ever. So my husband flew to the US, and then within 2 weeks, I started to get symptomatic. And it's weird that they say it because it's true. In the first 2 days, you feel like you've got flu, but the third day, it hits you hard. And I called him on the third and fourth day, and I was like, Rami, you need to come back to the UK. And he was like, you'll be okay, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, Rami, I genuinely think that this is the end for me. I literally think I might die. So you need to come back. And he did. He booked the first ticket back and he had to come back to the UK because you feel like obviously it affects people in different ways. Some people are asymptomatic and they don't feel anything. And then some people feel really, really horrible. And then some people die. It's the reality of it. But I felt like I couldn't move my body. It took at least a month or so to completely go back to, not completely back to normal. My sense of smell hasn't returned properly. And my sense of taste, that's why I suck really sour things and things with strong taste, because my sense of taste has never gone back to normal.
Really?
It's just never gone back to normal. Is it
coming in slowly?
So this is going to sound really weird, but since I had COVID, all food tasted the same, and it tasted like this kind of stale chemical taste. So no matter what I ate, I used to suck lemons, I used to chew ginger because it's really strong. I would put anything in my mouth so that I can get a sense of what that tastes like. So for the first 3 weeks, everything tasted of this I don't know how to explain it, like a stale chemical. It smelled disgusting. Oh. So it smelled bad and it tasted like that. So then after a month or so, certain things that I would eat, the taste would slowly come back. So subhanallah, stuff like milk, yogurt and cheeses, dairy products.
You could
dairy products taste, yeah. So I could taste dairy products and breads, pastas and rices. That taste came back.
Whoa! So it's coming. It's clicking back. The body's recovering and resetting.
Yes, but for certain things, things like certain vegetables, certain sweets, certain chocolates, certain biscuits. The taste hasn't come back for that. And in regards to smell, anything with alcohol, like anything alcohol. So perfumes, all perfumes still smell like that COVID smell. Soaps, all subhanallah, like every soap. And like, so my parents are helping me, like trialing it. It all smells the same. The only soap that I've used that doesn't smell like every other soap or perfume that I use is Dior Sauvage.
Oh.
That smells like perfume, like a good smell.
Yeah.
Oud. And do you have Lynx in Canada? Lynx, Lynx. It's a type of soap.
I'm not sure. No,
It's a man soap.
Yeah, it's a man soap.
Yeah, it's a man soap. So it's not for women. It's literally like a man brand.
Oh, fuck.
And I know it sounds really bad, but
you could smell
I use it. Yeah, and I use it because it's the only thing that I can put on my skin that doesn't smell like that COVID smell.
It's probably so far from being actual soap.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, right? Probably, to be honest. Yeah, probably. Probably. But it's a really, really weird. I really hope, like, I know, like, you don't really think about it until it happens to you, but wallahi, I really hope that it is reversible and I get, like, my smell and taste back.
I hope so, too. I hope the slow trickling of it coming back continues until you're 100%. I really
Inshallah, wallahi, I really hope so. Inshallah. Like, it's not the big deal. Like, people are suffering from worse things.
I know. But you want to taste, right? I mean, it's not. There's nothing greedy about being like, I want my taste back. Right?
Yeah.
Like you deserve that. Yeah. And I hope. But in the meantime, are you getting to go up on stage? Is your stage going back on? Are you back up, like doing outside gigs?
So yeah, there's some outdoor gigs. I did this like did huge favors for me. I did the first post-lockdown pilot comedy night, and it had like media coverage and this and that. And that was amazing. It was so good to be back on stage. But like the advice I would give comedians who are like starting to break through, are doing well, who are getting regular gigs, take full advantage of social media. It's hard, especially if it's not your thing, but doing like sketches, recording like bits and bobs, blah, 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 and putting them online is so essential. Doing podcasts, doing IG lives, like Instagram series are really good. It helps build your following. Because obviously, say for example, you're interviewing me, the people that follow me see you, and if they like you, exactly. So it really builds up a following.
You cross-pollinate, yeah. You
That's
what you just cross-pollinate, and it all comes together. And like you're right, especially COVID has shown us that as comedians, you really do have to put some content out there. You can't. If you want to still call yourself a comedian and not have that weird feeling like I did before I started dropping all that, it appeases me a little. I'm like, okay, I'm putting this out. At least I'm putting out this comedic energy into the world. As long as I'm doing it in one format, I'm satisfied for now, you know? But the stage
of course,
is the prime. There's no beating the stage.
Of course. Like, I think that's the beginning for everyone. Like, I want to be a stand-up comedian, obviously, but I'm hoping through comedy, like, it will open other doors for me. Like, I'd love to get into acting. I'd love to get into TV. I'd love to get into like reality TV. Like, these are the kind of thing, and I think comedy is the best platform for it. But at the same time, like, utilizing your social media and doing bits and bobs of all of that through your Instagram, through your whatever, it's completely to your advantage, I think.
You have to. And this time has kind of cornered you. And if you're being honest, it's like so much has changed in social media. You just got to contribute to it. And at the same time, also minimize it. Because I hate being on those apps too long. I go in, I drop my content, I interact a little, you know what I mean? And then I'm out. Because you can lose way too much time and just soul.
Yeah. So in the past 4 days, I've went on there a lot less, just to give myself time to focus on myself, time to do some writing. right. Literally, like anything that happens, like I'd experience one thing, like I go to a shop or whatever and something funny happens and I'll write it down and I'll try it out. So just use this time to like write material, experiment with new things. Like you say, you talk about race a lot, which is fine because at the end of the day, comedy, you're talking about your experiences. But I would always say, like, test your borders, talk about things that people wouldn't expect you to talk about. So for example, when I go on stage, people expect me to go on about my bloody hijab all the time or go on about being a Muslim all the time, but I try to not kind of
play into that
stereotype because it's a very boring game. So, you know, like I've seen, you know, when I started, I like looked up hijabi comedians and I feel like what they said was very much the same kind of thing, or like Asian comedians have very kind of, you know, the comedians that are good because they talk about stuff that is so personal. Like, okay, Dave Chappelle, I can't use him as an example because he's the OG. Do you know what I mean?
Shout out.
Well, if you're
Shout out to
listening
Chappelle.
to this, yes. Hello there, sir. Hello.
Hello. Sire.
Hello.
Hello, sire.
Hello, sir. Oh my God. But you know, when he's talking, you can, you almost feel like he's talking to you and trying to make you laugh.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to please everyone.
It's almost like a conversation rather than like a show.
Yeah.
You
like
really hone in.
You
it really,
a story.
He's the master storyteller. There's no beating.
Yeah, he's a master. Oh God.
Oh, my boy Chappelle.
Go on, give him another virtual cuddle. Go on.
Yeah, they can't see it, but now they can. Please take me on tour. Please let me open for you, Mr. Chappelle. I want to say this one thing, and we're coming on an hour, 20 minutes. This is like in the fucking green zone to land the podcast. But I just wanted to say, you wanted to get into reality TV, you should make a show called Niswan fi Umdurman.
Listen to me. So I'm a massive fan of the Housewives of Atlanta, Housewives of
Niswan
I love it.
Umdurman.
That is actually a fantastic idea, but
that means
I can imagine it'll get really nasty with them.
You could do it. You go. Imagine in 10 years, it's like an empire. Niswan min Umdurman.
Let's think. Let's get our heads together.
Okay, Ola, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on here. I actually weirdly feel like connected in like a disconnected way to the UK Portsmouth London comedy scene now. If I'm ever in the area, I'm gonna have to ask you to line up some guest spots for me if it's possible.
Yeah, of course. If you're able to fly out,
no, it won't be again. Just like this is not anytime soon. This is probably like a next year thing. I was really trying to come to Edinburgh. I applied a show and everything, so I wanted to do Fringe. I know you're saying fuck Fringe.
I knew. No. I'm not saying fuck Fringe. I'm just saying I knew that it was going to be cancelled. Like I knew it.
How'd you know though? I applied way before COVID hit.
Because as soon as it came to about December time and like COVID started flittering around, I thought, ooh. So
I'm so happy they sent me a nice rejection. And I was like, damn it, I wanted to go this year. Boom, COVID, take that, Fringe Festival. Please tell the people how to find you, where to find you. And I'm going to put everything in the description anyways, but take the opportunity.
So you will find me on at the Ola Labib. I have some very exciting stuff coming up at the end of this month. So yeah, tune in.
Hell yeah. And if you're only listening to us right now, she put her glasses over her eyes in a perfect way that lined up with tune in. But you missed it. That's why you got to go on YouTube and watch it. Plug in the YouTube. Yo, Ola, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. I really do hope all the senses come back and they're 100% normal in the coming months.
Inshallah, I really hope so too. I want to have like a chicken wrap and taste everything in the wrap, wallahi. And I know it sounds like such a pathetic thing, but that's what I really, really want.
Look at my story from like 18 hours ago. It's me just waiting on a chicken shawarma. So I know about that life literally like 18 hours ago. Oh, I hope it comes back. If you're listening to the Immigrant section, press follow, subscribe on whatever you're on. That's all I ask. Tell your friends about it. And as always, thank you so much for coming on. Ola, I hope you have
Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure.
Sorry for being
that's
late.
okay. You're forgiven for now.
Thank you so much. Have a good night. Yalla.
Okay. Okay. Take care. Bye.
Bye.